Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am thrilled today to have our guest, Kemo Camara, with us. He's going to share a lot about his organization, OMEK, and tell us how he gets the word out about his marketing. But first, let me tell you a bit about Kemo. He is a respected diaspora expert, social entrepreneur, and community builder, and the visionary behind OMEK, a community-driven career and professional development platform that connects top bicultural talent with leading brands, meaningful resources, and a global network. Kimo is renowned for championing the power of identity, bicultural fluency, and collaboration in the future of work. His passion lies in empowering individuals to achieve extraordinary feats. He enjoys bringing together people from diverse backgrounds to drive social change. And his mission is to enable bicultural individuals of African descent to become future transformational leaders. Welcome, Kimo.
Thank you. That's a quite a mouthful introduction. Wow.
It's all
Okay, the
true.
bar
So
the bar the bar has been set high. I need to like meet that chemo and then
tell
and
us
then
about that, Kimo. Tell us how you got from where you got to be starting OMAC and how it's been since you started it.
wow, how much time do we have? Like
Well,
two days?
as much as you need to tell it.
No, like I'll give a quick overview. So I'm originally from Guinea, which is in West Africa. That's where I was born. I spent half of my life there before moving to the West. So half of my life in Guinea, done my like formative life there. So I really had this opportunity of growing. Actually, I had this like a life jackpot
Oh,
because I was
wow.
born in this be most beautiful family.
Hmm.
Yeah, of like nine kids, nine
Wow.
siblings, and but like a huge compound where there was like cousins, like nephews and aunties and like friends and acquaintance. So I grew up in that kind of environment, and so I that became part of like community people, like that became part of my DNA before I left Guinea.
Yeah. It's like you were born in community, so you just took it, the
Yes.
concept with you. Wow.
Yeah, so my parents were like a community builder, like through and through. And so
Mm.
one thing actually they did that really stayed with me. They were career professionals, so they work in the government and then in the highest level they could get, and they leverage that position to support the community, which a
Mm.
lot of people don't do. Mostly, like what we see, the higher you get
Yeah.
in your industry, in your like field of expertise, the the more disconnected you become from the
Yeah.
community.
Like separated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they were like the total opposite, like complete opposite. The higher
Wow.
they get, the more humble they became, and the more connected they stay with the people. And so like you saw that you grew up, then you kind of think that's normal, like because
Right.
yeah, and then you don't like I didn't realize it's not normal until I got into that position, and then I went, outside. And so that's the thing that's a privilege that I had.
That must have been a shock, though, going out to the real world and finding out that that's not the case and it's normal.
I wouldn't say it was a shock. It was like, what are you guys doing? Like, you have no idea, like, what are you wait, like the things that you're wasting. Like, even it started even with my friend. Like, I remember being in the US and going to school, like education, and then like getting like being on that path. And then a lot of my friends, and then we graduated and then started getting this job and then like all these places, and then on that trajectory. And then me continue to stay in the community and leverage like all the expertise that I was learning from through my career, through my job, day-to-day job, and then bringing that in the community. And it's like, dude, that makes sense. Like if I learn
Yeah.
about strategy, if I learn about concept, if I learn about new tactic, that expert comes in and I benefit from being in the company and the company bringing this expert or sending me to this training, and I get that, and then I come to the community. I'm like, hey, we want to go from a point A to point B. Here is the expertise that I learned, and let's apply that. Like for me, it was natural. And then I'll see my friends be like, no, 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 I don't want to go in the community. That's annoying. And it's like, I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, how do you not? So that was the first reaction. I seen that in the real life, like, oh, this is not normal for me. This is what I want to do. And I'm seeing all these friends actually trying to stay away from the community because like you go in there, it's not the same mindset. And then like there's all
Mm-hmm.
these noises. There's a reason. Not that I'm blaming it, but that's what I got from
Yeah.
back home. That's really my origin story. That's where everything started for me. And so when I moved to the US, and the idea of me moving to the US was like really very linear thinking. Was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go to the US, I'm gonna get the best education, I'm gonna get the best work experience, and one day I'm gonna come back home. I'm gonna be sitting at the table when those fancy people come from like all this space, expat or whatever, and then they can't say anything because we come from the same background, the same. So that was my idea. Like I was
Okay.
just sitting at the
You had a
table.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the plan was really clear. It was very simple. There was not a lot of noises in the equation, simple
Mm-hmm.
equation, A plus B got equal this. And then I get to the US and there's like a lot of factor that I didn't put it in there. In life, the reality started
Mm.
hitting, being a migrant there and not speaking the language and not knowing the culture and then like everything that I did not plan was showing up, but I still had to roll my sleeve because I was there. So I had to do the thing. So I survived and I thrived and, went to school, pay for the school, everything, learned the language, and then went through that, classic migrant journey. And so went to the university and then worked for corporate America and then like basically had that, if it still exists, like the American dream. And so that was my journey of like moving from Guinea and then following this mindset. Like again,
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the education. I got that. I want to work in the big company. Started having that. But what thing that I didn't factor in that I did not know was that I had this community thing built in me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was naturally manifesting it. So like the higher I was going in the corporate space or like in my career, the more I wanted to come in the community and contribute this knowledge to the community. And then to the point where I became this, find myself as becoming this bridge between corporate and community because community has this beautiful aspiration of making the world a better place and the corporate have like this beautiful access resources expertise knowledge of moving things from a point A to point B very focused and then me benefiting both was like putting me in a very beautiful position which I didn't realize at the time this is all hindsight
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah, and then I started seeing value in that. And then so that actually became a problem because every community space I will go, I'll quickly find myself in the leadership position there,
They're like,
right?
Kimo, can
Because
you run this? Kimo, can you do this?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because I was like, oh, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And then they're like, before you know, my voice is important. I need to be there. And then I'm like, and then it's like there was a multiple community like I was involved in. And so I will go to work 9 to 5, and at 5, I'll go to a community, one community
Two,
event.
three, four.
Yeah, and so that would take me into 9 or sometime 8, and I'll come home, and then the day's gone, and then the next day, and then like this kept happening. My wife and I have this joke that we have like we moved from the US to come to Europe as an expat just to run away from that because it was just becoming. She's like, I work this trick on you, and then we just have to go. Like there was no time for her because I didn't realize I was so passionate about all this community work.
Mm.
Now knowing like, hey, you also have a wife at home, like you know what I'm saying. So nah, but that was just a joke that we have.
Yeah, that's
That's
nice.
just to illustrate a bit on the journey of like connecting community and then your expertise at work or like whatever that is. And so that, and then the more I was doing that, the more I started realizing how community is important to me.
Mm.
And then with the more I start realizing that, and the more I start connecting it with like, oh, where this is coming from. This is my parents. This is what I saw. This is what I grew up. And so that's why anytime I introduce myself, I always say community is part of my DNA. It's just like, um, so yeah, that's my origin story. This is where everything started. And so we moved to, so I built all type of community in the US, from professional community to sport to religions, like all type of it.
They must have
Um,
been really crying when you left. Everyone saying, please don't
yes,
go. And
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think the community there, and my excuse was like, no, no, I'm going for them. We're going as an expat. We have a contract for 3 years. We're gonna go explore that and we'll come back, coming back. So this is not a
Hmm.
goodbye. And three
Mm.
years is turned into 10 years and then with no
Yeah.
plan yet. So, but don't tell them that.
No, no.
We still coming, my people, we still coming. Um, but no, it was hard for the community, but we had a really clear vision and it was a great opportunity to leave the US at the time. And but because of that community building skill, when we moved from the US to Germany, didn't know anybody, so you had to start from scratch. And that's when you realize like that ability of bringing people together is key, because
Hmm.
it took me less than a month to find my people. And then it's like just build a community and then they'll embrace me because I have something to contribute to it. And then like all of a sudden, like I came in the country the culture is completely different from the American culture. So that was another. So imagine me from Guinea, the language, the culture, everything is like a fish out of the water coming here and
Hmm.
surviving in the US and thriving, and then like at the peak of like my career and then the community building and all that, and then I'm like decided to pack my stuff and then move and to come to Germany again to start from scratch, and didn't have anybody there. And then, but
Amazing.
the only skill that I had is the community building. And so I was like, okay, roll my sleeve. The language is different, the food is the culture, everything is different. But the people are the same. The emotion that we have is the same. The thing, like that's human thing that I have as a community builder, just like transcended all the other complexity and the newness. So I brought people together from different background countries and all that stuff. And then that just all of a sudden created a home for me there.
How did you do that within 1 month? Like, where did you go? Like, just like, how did you
Yes,
actually do it?
that's a good question. And so as a community builder, so I have this, I think community is about like people coming together that have a shared experience, right? And that shared experience can be stemmed to anything. And so
Hmm.
for me, I play football, right?
All
I'm a big
right.
football fan. And so when I
Soccer.
went to a place, first thing first that I do is to find the people who play football,
Perfect.
right? And so
Yeah.
when I was there, I was like, okay, where am I going to start? Because I know this. Funny story, because my wife and I were like walking, and our kids at the time was like 2 years old.
Mm.
We're working and going to buy something in the restaurant, and then the street I saw three African guys sitting there and talking, and I just walked to them.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, my people, what's up?" Like, and I started talking to them. The guy from Cameroon, and I started talking to them, and then it's just like we have this connection. And it's like we're talking, like all of a sudden, my son is looking at us like, "Dad, do you know them?" Like,
I thought
and
we weren't
I'm
supposed
like,
to talk to strangers.
yeah. And I'm like, yo, they're my people. And then we started talking. I'm like, yo, you like play football? Yes, we play football. Where do you play on the weekend? And this place exchanged a WhatsApp number.
That's
Gone there on
it.
the weekend, started playing with them, connected with them. And that's where like, so they have a big community. They've been living there for a long time. And then so they embraced me,
I love it.
right?
Yeah.
So they already there, they embraced me right away. And then I started playing football with them. And then I became part of the community, and then we started playing football every weekend. And because that's the community, and so often people of African descent, we have this shared football was our shared thing, but also I
Hmm.
have like this shared cultural part, and they were trying to build community there. And I brought in my ideas and then the things and the experience of building all type of community, football community. And I was like, okay, let's organize tournament, and then I can help you with that and be part of that. And then so like I got embraced there, and then they opened their network to me.
Hmm.
And then at school as well, I was doing my master in development and economics and international study, which in our group, like that program has a lot of internationals as well. And I'm like, yo, you both international migrant, and I know how this work. I built a community there. It was a beautiful community from China all over the place. And I was like, wonderful. And then also like at home where we were, the kindergarten was like a very diverse space. So like a lot of people, expat had their kid there. And then there's parents who created a WhatsApp group. There was another community there. So it's like all this like a little community was just made my life a lot more easier.
Wonderful. I love it the way you just literally walk up to someone because I think people today are like so I don't know what it is. They're afraid to just talk to strangers. Maybe we're too busy with our phones, but that's wonderful that you just start talking to someone. That's actually a thing anyone can do is just talk to someone.
Yeah,
Say
yeah,
hello.
it's not that complicated. It's not.
Right. I don't know. I guess people are afraid. Like, I don't know what they're afraid will happen, but that's a good.
But the things too, or maybe we can talk about this, like this concept of being a bicultural.
Mhm.
There's like this superpower in it,
That's true.
right? Because I grew up in the space where like usually back home in Guinea and in the bigger picture in Africa and an even bigger picture is like global South. We come from a collective
Yes.
culture,
Yes.
right? And then in each of these countries, if you look at Guinea, for instance, we have more than 20 plus different ethnical group that live in that one country. And which mean like each of these ethnical group have their own culture,
Hmm.
right? And so you kind of like grew up navigating multiple culture around or subculture within that. And so that's normal,
Yeah.
right? And so when you grew up in that space, and the one thing that that for me personally is really important. It's like the way I can walk to someone because I know already being from Guinea or being of African descent, we have this cultural connection. We come from a global south and then community is one. So there's always this shared thing that you have,
Hmm.
right? We
Yeah.
have that. That's the first thing. And the second thing from the individual perspective for me, when I walk to someone, the smile. Like when you have this smile, I don't know if I'm making this up or like I heard this somewhere where people say like a smile is like it's the window to your soul,
Yeah.
right? And for me, that's really important. When I see people and then I walk to you and I see when you have this beautiful smile, it invites. And there's almost like this connection between both of our souls. And so when I see people there and doing that, so there's a two-thing beautiful thing. You are people of African descent, you have that smile, so you invite him, and I can come easily and then we can just like strike the conversation and then we have a lot of things. So that's some powerful thing that I have of being a bicultural, right? And then that can apply. You don't even need to be in a people of African descent
Yeah.
because I grew up in the US. I'm been in the West now for like, a better part of my, second part of my life. And so I'm an American. I spent time in Germany. I've been here now for 7 years and here I'm in the Netherlands. And so like I'm connected. I have all these cultural parts. So if I see a Dutch, I know a little bit of a Dutch cultural background, so I can
Yeah.
connect with that, right? And
Hmm.
so I can't even be like someone from the Western in a community, and I understand a bit of that. And so if you have the smile or something, then I can easily connect to you. So that's why I'm not so afraid of like, walking to people and then connecting with people. And so that come from like, yeah, my bicultural superpower.
Amazing. And when did you start OMEC and how did that come to you? Because the first time I met you, you told me you had a 100-year vision, and I was like, wow, that's really incredible. I was so intrigued. I mean, because, everyone's short-term profits and only making money, and you've got this really big, robust vision. How did OMEC become into life?
Yeah, I think there's two genesis of OMEG. The first genesis is my personal story. Like someone who like left Guinea with this linear thinking and went to the US. And then there was like a lot of important factor that I didn't put into the equation, right? That linear equation that I went
Hmm.
in there and do A, B, C, and then get to D. Um, and then so navigating those, challenges as an immigrant in the US and then all that. And so that was one genesis, right? So I wanted to help other people not go through the same struggle when they move to
Hmm.
different places. How can you provide them the network and the support system that they need so they can tap into the potential that they have and so they can thrive and then they can at least contribute to the value creation of the society that they're in, right? And the second part, Genesis, when I moved to Germany, I did my master in development and economics. an international study, which is a mouthful. Um, and as a part of that program, I really want focusing on the understanding how do you move a country from a point A to a point B, which was one of the reasons I moved to the US too, right? Because I wanted to
Hmm.
understand. So if I come back and sit at the table, can I have this? And so development in economics for me was a tool to do that. And into that program, I quickly realized, the program itself, the concept, the content and everything that's teaching us is outdated. It just doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And but I fell in love with like the idea of the diaspora. Diaspora, apply to people who live outside the country or nation or place of origin, and they, yearning or the connecting with that space. So a diaspora, African diaspora would be like people living outside the continent of African descent. And so like European, it can be European diaspora, it can be like Asian diaspora, all that. And so there's this concept I started studying. I'm like, man, this diaspora can be a huge asset in contributing in the social economic development in the country. And so I focus on understanding. I
Mm.
study other diaspora, the successful diaspora that made big
Okay.
impact, like the Chinese diaspora, for instance,
Right.
huge impact. Indian diaspora, huge impact. The Irish diaspora, huge contribution they're making in in the country. So I studied a lot about the African diaspora also. I'm like, man, this is like, and so that became my development in economics thing. I'm like, oh, this diaspora actually can be a huge tool, not tool, but like asset that can be leveraged for
Yeah.
socioeconomic development of the country of origin, but most important, the country that they live in or they're born and raised
Yeah.
in, right? And so that became the second genesis of OMEK. Like, if we could, because there's this diaspora here, which I'm part of, right? And
Yeah.
so if we can mobilize and harness the capital that they have, whether it's social capital, human capital, philanthropy capital, and financial capital, if we can harness that and harness that energy, and you can leverage that for the social economic development, not only
Wow.
making impact the place that we live in, but
Hmm.
also any other place. So that became, and actually, I wrote my thesis about that. And
Mm.
those finding, this information became like, oh, there's need to be a space. Because when I was doing my thesis and then interviewing people and having this conversation, what I started realizing is like there's so many people out there, especially younger generation that I call today the bicultural, who are born and raised of like the first generation of the migrant, the parent that moved to give their kids a better life, but they were born and raised here in the Netherlands, in France, or whatever. So
Right.
they're part of the fabric of that society, but they have a different energy, that energy of like not putting up with the status quo anymore and creating
Hmm.
the change that they want to see. And so I started talking to these people. I'm like, oh, there's a need to build a space where these people can see each other. It doesn't matter if they're in Frankfurt, Paris, Berlin, China, it doesn't matter. Like, I wanted
Right.
to remove this black box and make it a lot easier for them to see each other, because once they see each other, then it become a lot easier for them to start to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And once they talk to each other, then they start realizing like, yo, we speak in the same language. We have the same, that shared experience that I was talking about, that shared value, the shared vision that they have, right? And they start realizing, and once they realize that, then it's like, man, I'm doing this, you're doing this, I'm here, you're there, we connect. And so that became like really the genesis of OMEK. Like OMEK, there's a need to build a space for this community. Um, so yeah, I moved to, after that realization, my wife and I packed our stuff. We left Germany and came to Amsterdam to start building OMEK. So in 2019, that's how our journey started.
Wow. And since then, how has it developed and how have you, because it's an online community, it's free, by the way, and we'll put all the links with the episode, but how has it grown and how have you gotten the word out about it over time since it started in 2019 till today?
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. I think every entrepreneur would relate to this. So this idea came and it was so obvious and it was so clear.
Yeah. Once you say it, it's like, yes, it is so perfect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so clear. And then the things too is like, this is for me. Like the target, I'm the number one target audience for this
Yeah.
community, right? So I'm like basically building something to solve my own problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so So it's like, yo, and so everybody else that I was talking to is like, oh, this is a hobbyist. And so as an entrepreneur, I was like, I had the business plan and I had this idea, and then like in 6 months, we're gonna be here. In 2 years, oh, we can take over the world because who's gonna resist to this?
Yeah.
I mean, this is yeah, the entrepreneur dream, right?
Yeah.
And but I think that one thing that really stay consistent is that as a community builder, I wanted to build something that really will affect people and then change their life. Because I've seen this, I've seen my parents doing this, and I know this. This is part of my DNA. Like just grow up. For me, that's normal. And so I wanted to create something that would last that long, right? And one thing that I'm doing, like I'm talking about my parent, but my parents also got this from their parents. So there's like at least 5 generations in my family that's been community building.
That's what I
Like
was
my
thinking when you were talking about your parents. I was thinking, well, wait, who taught your parents that? Like,
Yeah, no, they
yeah,
they
it's
came
a,
from that. Like my
yeah.
ancestor, like actually built a whole village. Like my, when and then there was like a space. They built a house there and invited people, and then now it's like that's a big village and tribe. So this is like I come from a community building legacy, and so
Mm,
this has been, and so for me, like what I'm doing right now, it's like it had to be something the continuation of that. So that's
yeah.
what that 100 year idea is like. And so knowing that you just need to go slow. This is a marathon. And so you need to take your
Yes.
time. And then
That's a
so
great
that
lesson.
that really became part of the genesis of OMEK or the DNA of OMEK from the get-go. So like, okay, we can do all this type of marketing and then this idea is a really shiny idea. People will come. But the things with the community, when people come, you invite people, what are you providing them to make them stay? And then they make them get the value out of it and then make them grow and then thrive and then more from like create that transformation. They come from point A and get them to point B,
Mm,
right? And so you really need to figure that out. You really need to flush that out. Like the shiny things, ideas, and all that stuff, like it's a lot easier. And which a lot of people, community builder, do this, and then like, man, we have like the shared things that we talked about, and it's really amazing. People come, there's nothing there
yeah,
to
it has to,
welcome them to, and so
something
I
has to
had to figure
evolve.
that
Yeah.
out.
Mm,
I had to figure that out to really put my head down and be like, what is the value? Okay, this is what the people are saying. This is the need that I have, but how do I create solution for that need and to sustain that need and help that need and all that? And so we really intentionally started working on this,
mm,
providing. So the past really first 6 years of OMEC time was like really figuring this one out and working and trying and testing and and so now how did we get the word out? Mine, when we came to the Netherlands, was the same move that we did from US. No, the same move we did I did from Guinea to the US. Didn't know, like I have no network.
right.
Build a network from the US to Germany with no network there. Build a network, and it was the same thing we did too. Like we pack our stuff from Germany to the Netherlands to come build OMEC, but we didn't have a zero network yet. We knew at least like at like one person, which was
Mm-hmm.
my wife is a cousin. Um,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the only person we knew
That
in
works.
Amsterdam. And so we came here and then we had to start from scratch and we have to build and we have to get the word out. So again, that sh that shared value, the shared experience, like you always leverage that, right? And so when I came here, I didn't do the football thing because I wanted to build OMEC. And then it was like the whole idea was to focus on that. And then we kind of like started the first event, just initial gathering, and it was like, hey, bicultural, this is the concept. Like, if you live in and we're navigating between words, like, does that make sense to you? Come and let's have a
But where
conversation.
did you put that? How did you get that announcement out? Like literally, like was it on LinkedIn or a
Yes,
platform or Twitter or something?
it was on LinkedIn and it
Hmm.
was on Instagram.
Instagram.
Those are the
Okay.
two. Those are the two main things we're using. I think we're using also Facebook at the time.
Perfect.
And so those are the three platforms we use because we didn't know anybody and then so we did that. And then also one thing that I did in my initial, I would say first 6 months here was a lot of introduction. So I
Mm.
met with someone and I'm like, hey, who are the people in the Netherlands that I need to connect with? Give me two or three names, right? And then they will give it. And I know two people like that completely like welcome you open hand. Like, this lady called Di Bruto. I'm so grateful to her. And there's my and then a sister. Um, also like so they really open their network to me. They'll be like, Kimo, here's the list of 10 and 20 people,
Wow.
influential people here in the Netherlands you should talk to. And so that's what's really helpful. So I set up a meeting and so talk to all these people, kind of introduce myself and the idea and then understand the lay of the land first. So like because we didn't know anybody here. We
Right.
don't even know how Netherlands, the culture, like the complexity and all that. So I had to do that homework first. And then after that, we set up the meeting that invited people. And then we had like about 30, 35 people that show up. Some of those people still come to OMEC to this
I
day.
believe that. I believe that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so they came in and kind of had a talk and an idea. And then I was like, yo, you guys are the very first people. I make this promise to you right now. These things is gonna have legs, it's gonna grow up, and then we're gonna go global, and then we're gonna do this. That is a commitment. And I still like tell them about this. So we did that first, and it kind of got people, and then we did the second one that way. And but the messaging that we were putting there, people were like resonating to that message. This idea of being a bicultural, people resonating more and more to that. I mean, I had done a lot of research about this, and then I knew there's this drive when I was talking to different people, like from different countries, and then they all had this drive of being part of something bigger than themselves. And so
Hmm.
that's the message that I'm putting out there. Like not putting up any more than the status code, like contributing to something. And so that's especially this biculture, these young people resonate with that message. In 2019, I think in June 2019, we kind of decided after doing a two or three pilot event, we're like, okay, we're gonna do a big summit. We call it like African Diaspora Collaboration Summit, right? And then kind of like put this on out there. And then we are expecting maybe 40, 50 people to show up. We had like over 100 plus
Wow.
people showing up.
Within
And that
six
became,
months. That's amazing.
yeah, and that's what like really launched OMEC, that event. And people came
Hmm.
in the room and we created the way we still created the OMEC event. And you come in there and you meet or the like-minded people or the bicultural, and then everybody want to help. Everybody speaking the same language. And then people literally, it was so magical for me because I've done this work, I've done this research, and it was just my wife and I at the time. Like we going through this, and I'm like, I created this echo chamber, like and like validating this thing. But it was but because it was my life experience and I was talking to all these hundreds of people, like over 200 people. I did the survey and the research and all that. And so I know these things exist and it's like the feeling, but people didn't have the words and vocabulary to articulate that feeling that they have of being someone of African descent, born here in the Netherlands, growing up here in the Netherlands, and navigating the Dutch culture and then your African culture, and they just live it and they just wake up in the morning and go and live that, but they don't have the word to articulate. And so when
Hmm.
we started putting the vocabulary to that and word to that, people started coming. It's like, yes, this is my life.
This is
This is what
it.
I've been living. And then this is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm
Hmm.
thinking. And then being in the room with like a bunch of other people that's thinking that you for the whole time you've been thinking like I'm alone. And
It's
now
just
you
me.
realize,
Yeah.
yeah, you're realizing like, oh, there's way more people and that the excitement. So we this summit, my wife and I were in the room, and I was just watching people articulating what I've been saying the whole time. It was just the funniest thing. They were like, just, oh, you have no idea. This is what I'm like. Okay, and so
Yeah.
it just created this like really energy in the room, and I just hearing people like, man, I've been living here my whole life for 30 years. I've never been in the room like this before. And I'm
Wow.
like, how is that possible? But like, yeah, it was possible. And that became OMEC. And so
Yeah.
and from there on, those same people were like sharing their experience
Right. It
online. So now
spreads.
it was
Yeah. Talk.
amplifying it, right? It wasn't only us. There were people sharing their experience online. We went to this event, this new organization, OMEC is doing this. And so that became our marketing way. And still
Word of
to this
mouth.
day,
Yeah.
almost 70% of our members are like through word of mouth
I love
recommendation.
that. That is such a
Yeah.
powerful way to get the word out because it's basically free and it's also very high level of trust because we trust
Yeah.
if someone says, "Oh, this is the place you have to be," we're like, "Okay, it's not an advertisement, it's not paid, it's really just people that have experienced it." And I found out because I met you at TEDx Amsterdam and you told me about what you're doing. You said, and you invited me, so I said, "Okay, I'm coming." And I tell people, and it's just that's fantastic word of mouth, spreading it far and
Yes.
wide. Okay, so word of mouth and meeting people and building your network, and you're out networking, and you also have brilliant marketing. Do you want to talk about that? How you managed to your beautiful
Yeah.
branding and marketing?
Yeah. I mean, the marketing part, like we also, yeah, we have a magician
Uh-huh.
that I think is like the secret weapon that OMEK has. My beautiful partner wife is our brand, leads, and then she does the marketing and the communication and everything. So all this beautiful design and color and
Yeah.
brightness, that's all her. And so, I mean, she doesn't come from a marketing background, but we just like
Interesting.
to figure it out, it's like, we figured this one out together and then
Okay.
be like, yo, this is how we want to see ourselves. Highly, highly qualified. Yeah, she's worked with like in some of the biggest brands
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So like leveraging that. But I think it's just like I say these things over and over again. If you don't know who you are, um, people will tell you who you're supposed to be.
Mm.
And I think for us being on this journey and understanding our bicultural identity, meaning like being able to fully embrace each of this culture that we have lived in, whether that's Guinea or in Africa, in the US, in Germany, in the Netherlands now, and like that having all this culture negotiating all this culture into our identity and on my identity and it kind of allow me to like know who I am and then those things serve me, not the other way around. And
Yeah.
that way I can see the beauty of my African culture. I can see also the beauty of like what it means to be an American because I define that for myself.
Mm.
And so that really helped inform the way we want, what we put out, the way we communicate about OMEK, the way we represent ourselves with OMEK. And so like OMEK is just a mean to an end. It's not
Yeah.
the end itself. It's just a mean that we leverage it to an end. And that end itself is really understanding who we are and how do we um, provide ourselves as a community that to become the best, the full, like leverage our full potential, right? Give
Yeah.
us the chance to like do that. OMEC is just like a vehicle to facilitate and accelerate that, and then bring the tools and resources and all that. And so being conscious of that, we're using that vehicle since we are building the vehicle and it give us the power to do what we want with that vehicle, right? That vehicle to
Yeah.
do it for us. And so looking at it that way, so that really express itself in the way we, like communicate in our marketing and in everything, right? So when you see the picture, and then most of the picture that we use, if not 99% of the picture that we use, are the community members.
Yeah. I love that so
And
much. They're
and then the way
beautiful.
the way we shoot them, when you see them, you're like, oh man, these are like models and then all that. No,
Yes, it is. They look like supermodels.
yes. And then we like very intentional, like this is what we want to see, and this is have to be us, and this is how
Mhm.
it look like. And then the way we communicate, the way even me using the word bicultural
Mhm.
is very intentional.
Mhm.
Like I tell people, do not call my community what you want. You call it the way I want it,
Mhm.
right? And so usually our community will say like, oh, underprivileged community, underrepresented community, under. I'm like, no, 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 no,
No,
no.
no.
I was not in the wrong when these terms came, right?
Mhm.
I'm using the term that I want, whether it's
Yeah.
right or wrong, that on my own term. And so I
Mhm.
use the word bicultural to describe the OMEK community. Very
Mhm.
intentional, right? That's the word that I want. And
Mhm.
so when I use the picture, when we use it in a sentence, when we use the word, everything that we're using, it is in our own term. And so that's embedded in our communication and our marketing. And with that being said, because we do that, I kind of show this like how do you become very genuine and authentic in the way, in the best way possible to represent yourself. And that way, it help other people that they see it and they connect with it. It's like, oh man, I feel like this is how I see myself. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's been really, really helpful um, to attract more people. So like
Yeah.
even the people that don't come through the word of mouth, when they go and come across OMEK, or someone tell them and they go to the OMEK
Yeah.
website and they easily see themselves into that. And so like that's very intentional.
It's
Yeah, so
powerful.
that's like our communication marketing thing. And also I think a bigger marketing because knowing that the word of mouth is like a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
When people come in the room, when they come to the OMEK event, like even right now, like you have such a huge FOMO, you've been waiting for the OMEK
2 years.
summit to come back
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the code reds messed that up. But like you still have that FOMO for not
Yeah.
being there,
Yeah.
right? Because you were there and you saw like what happened. And that's the thing, like we're really, really intentional. When people come in the room, like the experience that we create, that shared experience, like the way you see yourself and the way the space make you feel about yourself and feel seen and heard and represented better than you had expected. That's what the place, and that's our marketing tool. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you have that, that stays with you, and you want to talk about that. You
Absolutely.
want to talk to other people about that. But
Yeah.
most importantly, you want to talk to yourself about that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been our marketing way.
It's amazing, and also just it's being in the real life situation is fantastic, but you also somehow managed to do this online, which I don't know how you do it, but well, I do kind of know. But what I mean, this online platform, it's a community you can join for free, and the moment you join, you're getting an email from someone or a message that says welcome and tell us, and like people talking with you, and you have the messages that go out weekly and different events and introducing people and sharing what people are up to and discussion. It's like you have replicated that in an online space, which that's very difficult to do because people get bored, they forget. But it's a very active community. It's a very robust community, very supportive. You get the same feeling when you're online, not exactly the same, but as close as you can get. You've created that as well, which is extremely powerful.
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's something like COVID
Yeah,
gifted
yeah.
us.
Okay.
Remember that thing?
Okay.
That thing that happened? COVID gifted us that. Because yeah, when COVID happened, we were like the whole world was forced to go online. And but it was just like the same, honestly, the same genuine authenticity
Hmm.
that you bring in the community building. And then for me, like it was like with all the summit, all the conversation and the gathering that we were doing online was so genuine and was
Hmm.
so fulfilling. Like it felt like you are in person in the room with these people. And so, but it was just about like knowing who you are is so, so important. It's all about you. And then like just do the work, just understand who you are and understand there's something powerful about you. And then irrespective of the noise that's going around and then everything that's like external things that's been bombarded with, like you are the most important. And I think the conversation was like again the bicultural thing coming in because we navigate in multiple worlds and then that can be confusing, complicated, and complex and so like OMEK could bring you in that space. And when you're in that space, that's the conversation that we have like about understanding that, but also you being there hearing other people talk about that. So we started having that conversation online,
Hmm.
right? And so that was always important, and people come in and they connect with that and find other people to connect. And so that was always it just created that magic online. And so we're able to like when we again transition in person and it's the same thing. And even though like meeting now people in person even greater, but like online. So we've been able to do that. And so when we are building our digital space, especially now, there's so many people's attention is like there's millions of things like trying to get your attention, like
Hmm.
Slack, email, and then work has a million and stuff, and you get out of work, LinkedIn is like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you haven't been here, you're missing out. And Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and you name it. It's like, and so you go create another digital space, people just don't even want to come.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they come, what are you gonna give it to them? And for us, we have to like that's what I'm talking about. That 6 month year, we've been like really working hard to really be like, this is what we're offering. Very genuine, authentic space where you figure out who you are. And then based on that, everything else can come. Like your career should be based on who you are. If you don't know who you are, people will tell you who you're supposed to be, right? And we are here as a community. We've been together. It's like we enabling that,
Mm-hmm.
understand who we are, understand that bicultural identity that we have is a privilege and it's a superpower. Once you claim that superpower,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere and do anything. Like you're already good at what you're doing. Like you just like have to have this foundation in place. So that conversation, that's what's happening on the platform and the digital space, and people resonate with that. They come in and why is everybody want to help me? Why are people so nice?
Yeah.
That's just a normal thing.
That's so
We just
powerful.
we're just
Yeah.
normalizing it. You come in, like when you come in the message that we send, yeah, we are here
To help you,
to,
to
to
support
yeah, to
you.
support each other. So you contribute and you benefit. You contribute and you benefit. It's like give and take, give and take.
Mm-hmm.
That's the essence of like a beautiful community. We still far like we're just getting started. But
Yeah.
again, think about this long term, like the next generation. So we need to put a foundation, a really beautiful platform in place so the next generation that's coming, they can take it and to the next level and the next and next. So that's the work that we're doing.
I love that. Well, wow. Okay. Before we close, I want to ask you one final question, which I feel like you've already answered in multiple ways, but what is it that you find most meaningful about the work you're doing with OMEK and this community?
Helping people.
Yeah.
Like my philosophy is the best way I help myself is by helping other.
Mm.
And I think like for me, the joy that I get out of OMEC is like the opportunity of like, helping others. And then OMEC is like this, I could not have a better things to do in my life
Yeah.
than that. Like that's all it's about. It's like just about helping people. And then helping people meaning help someone get a job,
Yeah.
or that's simple as like help someone walk in the room and then have this feeling of like, oh wow, I did not know I feel like this about myself. I
Mm.
feel seen. I feel something inside me that I don't even know how to articulate.
Yeah.
Like, and now I have a vocabulary to express what I've been feeling my whole life. Now I can connect with other people. Now I can learn about myself. Now I can do this work. Like just as small as that, or someone coming in and being like, I'm someone else, smile at them and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help them, and then be real like, wait, people can genuinely want to help you without, yeah, those things. So all my just really does, yeah, people just connect in a community, and then like we have so many people moving in here and places, and they're like, I'm looking for a community, and this is a space for them. So it's just consistently people like, man, I never imagine if like, we get this message all the time. I never imagine I could have worked for this company or gotten this type of job if it wasn't for OMEC. Like,
It's
yeah,
life
so
changing. It's changing
yeah,
lives. It's changing communities. It's changing the world
yeah.
by helping these people know who they are and do what they need to do and get out there in the world and connect. It's amazing work that you're doing.
Yeah, I honestly I think for me it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be
Mm,
part of this
hmm.
work. Um, we literally making in our own little modest way, like the world a better place. And
For
like
sure.
usually when you people say this, like, oh, like, I want to like, how do you change the world? Like you
Mm,
automatic thinking like, oh, you have to be like Steve Jobs, create an iPhone, or like create an airplane and stuff like that. Like the way you change the world, like is it started with you. Like literally, if you change and you work on yourself and then become a better person every day, that's how you change the world. Because you change in your own world by becoming
that's
better.
out.
And then whatever happened, irrespective whether you want it or not, there you live around other people. and then they will see you, and then they will see that behavior, even if it's the one thing that you do, someone might learn from that. And
Hmm.
now you're impacting that someone,
Yeah.
right? And it might be two or three. And if you're a bigger community, and then like, then you impacting more people, and there's more people impacting more people. And that's like how you change the world. That's how you make the world a
Mhm.
better place.
I
And it's just
agree.
not, it's like as simple as that. And so
I
if you have
agree.
it in a community that's like normalizing that, we're making the society that we live in a better place, the world that we live in a better place. And it's such a huge privilege to be part of that journey.
Well, that's a beautiful and perfect place to leave it. I agree with that 1 billion%. Thank you so very much for your insights and sharing your story and your journey. And people are welcome to go to the website and join and check out the community. I will add a link. Thank you so much, Kimo. You're a real light in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate you a million times. Thank you for being on this journey with us.
Yes.
We got work to do. That's
We
all I
got
want
work
to
to
say.
do. We
Yes.
do. Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.